How we doing? What's going on, Patriot fans? Welcome back to the PrimeTime Patriots podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jake Mott. Coming at you guys after we missed two games, right? So we missed the Bears game in which the Patriots lost 33-14. Really looked like the sky was falling here in New England. We'll get to that one. And then we also missed the Jets game, which just happened a few days ago. Nice win for the Patriots. Although really doesn't look like it does on paper, right? Not that easy win that you were really hoping to get. We'll hop into that as well. So let's not waste any time. We'll get right into it, and we will start with this Bears game, a game that I was actually at Gillette Stadium. It was a Monday night loss. This was a crazy game, right? So first three drives, we get Mac Jones. Then Mac Jones throws a pick. There's chants in the stadium going on already, right? Zappy, zap, crazy stuff. And they bring in Mac Jones. Or not bring in Mac Jones. They bring in Bailey Zappi, excuse me. First two drives, Bailey Zappi, touchdowns. Boom, boom. Patriots go up 14-10. We are rolling. The place is going nuts. Right, guys? It felt like 20 years ago. Not that I remember. I was 2 years old, 1 year old. It felt exactly like I would imagine Bledsoe taking a seat. In comes Brady. Brady starts lighting it up. It was happening again, right in front of our eyes, right? The first round pick, the big sought after quarterback, pushed to the side. In comes the late rounder, starts stepping up, making plays for two drives. It was very real in New England. The fever was very real, and it was going nuts. If they ran away with that game and won with Bailey Zappi, how do you sit him the next week? That would have been his fourth or fifth win in a row or something, or fourth win, I believe, in a row. It would have been crazy, right? People would have been going nuts for this kid. It all kind of got extinguished really quick. Patriots do basically nothing after they get that score to 14, and they end up falling 33-14. So let's hop into it a little more in depth. We'll do our traditional good, the bad, the ugly. Try to move quick so we can break down this Jets game as well. So the good, like I just said, Bailey Zappi first two drives. That's basically where the good ends for this game, right? We hop right to the bad. Bailey Zappi. I know I said his first two drives, but we got to put Bailey Zappi in the bad category for this Bears game. I'll explain why. He looked like a rookie for the first time. 50% of his plays were play action or screens, which means he's basically either throwing 2 yards to a running back, a quick dump off, right? Believe Ramondre Stevenson was your leading receiver in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Or that may have been the Jets game. It's definitely the Jets game. Might have been this game as well. But regardless, a lot of check down, quick passes to running backs, things like that. And then play action, you typically can get one or two receivers to get relatively open because you're faking a run play. You're ideally doing that when you're running the ball pretty well, and you can bring the defense in and at least get one or two of the corners or safeties, make a bad read, get an open receiver. For example, you saw that on, I think it was his first drive. He throws it deep, hits Jacoby Myers, who gets into the end zone. Jacoby Myers wide open. He could have scored much easier on that play. He caught it, had to fall, and kind of roll his way into the end zone. Bailey Zappi almost missed him, and he was wide open, right? So a lot of throws like that from Bailey Zappi where open receivers, short screen passes. Other than that, he looked like a certain rookie, right? Lot of big mistakes. 2 turnovers in this game. Didn't produce any offense beyond the first 2 drives, right? Not even a field goal drive. They were playing for touchdowns there at that point, so you're not trying to kick field goals. It makes sense. But to still put up no points beyond those first 2, again, it's hard. It's not an overwhelming bad. He's a rookie, and he's finally looked like it, right? The first 2 games, he really didn't look like it. He was playing pretty well, pretty comfortable. Looked a lot like Mac Jones last year, right? Very in control of the offense, very comfortable up there. That wasn't the case in this Bears game, so I got to drop him down into that bad category. This was really tough to see in that bad category for the Bears game, right? The running game. It was something that they had been able to lean on all year, and it really took a huge dive. Mac Jones was the leading rusher, I believe, at halftime, and he left at the end of the first quarter. So Mac Jones had 3 rushes for 28 yards. That was the leading rusher for the longest time for the Patriots. Some point in the middle of the third quarter, Ramondre Stevenson finally took that over. But they did next to nothing on the ground. They only put up 70 yards as a team. So that includes Mac Jones. That's 46 yards, right? 46 yards on the ground as a team besides your quarterback. That ain't too good, right? I think Bailey Zappi had a few yards in there as well. So they'd been able to lean on that running game in tough games, in games where they've had leads. In all sorts of games, they've definitely lent on that running game for support. And this was the first game where it really wasn't there. They tried to lean on it, and they kind of just fell apart. The receiving core. If you get rid of Devontae Parker's 50-yard bomb on Zappi's second drive that set up his second touchdown, Myers and Parker had only 2 catches, and all the other major receivers had 1, all of which being under 20 yards besides Myers, who had 34 on 2, most of which came on that touchdown pass that Bailey Zappi got to him. So 2 big plays, and of course it's easy to say get rid of the 2 big plays, but without those 2 big plays, there was basically no consistency from these receivers. There wasn't 1 or 2 guys that was able to get open consistently throughout the day. Again, basically nobody making any production. 1 catch for everybody besides Parker and Myers. So you hate to see that from the receiving core, but it's kind of becoming a similar trend as we'll see when we get further along into this Jets game. So the ugly for this Bears game. The defense had been your rock all year, just like your running game, completely looked like trash against a really pretty crappy quarterback, at least a very young, mistake-prone quarterback, right? In Justin Fields, a guy who has beat virtually nobody in the NFL with his arm. You had the ability to try to bring some pressure, keep him in the pocket, and force him to make throws and beat you with his arm. They didn't do that. They let him run around all goddamn day, and they didn't adjust to it at all. Finished as their leading rusher with 84 yards. He just killed you. 82 yards, excuse me. They never adjusted. It was just really weird to see. You figure you come out of halftime, you got some sort of thing, and like, if Justin Fields had way less yards, but you were keeping him in the pocket, and maybe they stole a touchdown on a deep Darnell Mooney throw or something like that, right? Some big chunk play. I can live with that. They let Justin Fields repeatedly on third down, right? Big third downs too, like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Just take off and get 7, get 8, right? Just enough to pick up that first down, and they never adjusted. They never put a spy on him. You never saw somebody like Kyle Duggar just roaming around the field with Justin Fields. It was tough. And it really wasn't great. First time this year that the defenses looked really shaky, and it cost him this game for sure. Mac Jones. Had to put him in the ugly category. It's tough, right? It's his first game coming back, but the defense is horrendous of the Bears, right? And then you see Bailey Zappi come in and again, so much weirdness with the play calling, with everything, right? Like, why does Zappi come in and then there's wide open dudes everywhere, right? Like, either way, if you got to point to somebody, you got to point either to the coaching of Mac Jones, combination of both. I had Mac in the ugly for this category. I wrote this last week right after the game. So I didn't care about anything but the pick. It's so unbelievable to see him making the same mistakes that he didn't make last year. And that's the thing. He's a guy, he came into the league and prided himself, and his main selling points were his decision making, his accuracy, all those little intangible things that make up a good pocket passer quarterback that can manage games, right? A lot of the mistakes he's making this year, I think people are overlooking too. They go, oh, well, it's a new offense. Oh, well, he's got new protection on the O-line. Oh, he's got some new receivers, right? Still, the fundamental core things of, protect the football, miss in the right places, which is a big thing, right? We'll talk about that when we get to the Jets game. There's things that he's supposed to do as a player, regardless of who or what is around him, that make him a good, safe, conservative quarterback in the NFL. And he's kind of putting that aside and trying to, I think everybody keeps pointing into this Ravens game about how great Mac was in this Ravens game. Oh, he had the picks, but what a great game. But he had the picks. So, what are we I don't want Mac Jones to push himself to try to be a guy who puts up Mahomes or Allen type passing yard numbers. That's just not going to be him consistently ever. That's not his ceiling. He's wasting his time trying to do that, and at the cost of what? Losing his good traits, like not turning the ball over and stuff. Like, that ain't worth it, right? There needs to be a more natural progression for Mac Jones. Can Mac Jones get to a point where he can throw for 300 yards, maybe average something like in the 260, 270 range? Yeah, I think he can. He's very accurate. If he gets a better connection with all these receivers that he has on his team right now, things are just going to gel and get better. But if you sacrifice and change the things that make you a good conservative player, it's kind of coming at a pretty lofty cost, in my opinion. So, not in any category, not good, bad, or ugly. Or actually, no, this is its own category. I put this under abysmal. So we got a new category. The coaching decision with the QBs, right? So pick one. What the hell are you doing? Like, why would you even try to say that the plan was to play both? Like, it's the NFL, right? And on top of it, you have two quarterbacks that play virtually the exact same style of football. So what is the benefit of switching the quarterback middle of the game? Like, you're messing up your receivers, you're giving them no consistency, you're giving your O-line less consistency, the center has less consistency with the snap. Why? If Mac Jones is healthy, he plays, and he's the guy, unless he does something worthy of a backup being put in the game, which apparently wasn't the call. It looks like when you pull him right after a pick and whatnot, right, you pulled him because he made a mistake. Belichick doubling down again, that is not what we did, right? Come on, man. Like, there's no benefit to playing two quarterbacks in the NFL that are both average to below average and play the exact same style of game. What do you get out of that? If Mac is healthy, he plays the whole game. If he's not healthy and there's any question, Bailey Zappi plays the whole game. Like, it's so weird. Like, there's no pot. I think what it was, you keep hearing, right? I'm trying to wrap my head around it. The Bears, I think the Patriots thought that no matter who was under center, no matter what the circumstances, they were going to beat the Bears because the Bears were that bad. Their defense turtled, and then they were in a really weird situation with their quarterbacks, and then they bring in the rookie who brings them back into the game. And, like, you can't look at that any other way than, like, you pulled Mac immediately after he had two shitty drives, and on his third drive, he throws a really bad pick. It's like, you benched him for that game. If he went out and threw 3 straight touchdown drives and the Patriots were in a game 21-17, you pull him? Like, no, you don't. Of course you don't. You pulled him because he was looking like shit. It's very, very weird, and I think it was a BS situation to, like I'm just getting mad even talking about it. I'm glad there was no fuckery in this Jets game, right? They made a decision, they went with the decision, they stuck with it. Even though Mac Jones looked pretty bad. We'll talk about that again. But I thought it was such a shitty decision, so weird. And just a little gravy on top of that whole Bears thing. A lot of talk about, what does this say about the fans? Booing Mac Jones, this and that. I think it's pretty crappy, personally. I think all it did was make you guys, me included, Patriot fans, look really immature and, like, just ungrateful and shit. Like, what do you want? Like, really, you got to look at the success we've had and realize that is an anomaly. That doesn't happen. Okay, we are lucky. Do you know how lucky we are to move on from Brady, and then we had our bridge year with Cam Newton, and then in a year we have a serviceable, decent quarterback who's accurate, pretty good at protecting the ball, at least up to this year, and, like, can make good game decision throws, brought you to the playoffs as a rookie, right? Do you know how many teams? Do you know what the Jets would do for a rookie quarterback to bring them to the playoffs? Like, to boo the guy. Like, 2 drives. Not even after a pick, right? Just after 2, 3 and outs. On his first game coming back from injury. Sure, you can. Oh, he's 2-9 and he's 2-7 in his last 9 starts. Oh, this guy sucks, right? Really? Like, I thought it was very childish, and I thought it was stupid of the Patriot fans. I was not one of the people booing. I was one of the people looking around going, what are we doing right now? Like, are we all 5 years old? I think we've had it so good around here for so long. We want everything to be the best. The NFL is the hardest league to have consistent, continuous success in. There's so much changing all the time, so many different variables and people to worry about. You got a solid, decent quarterback right now, and you're booing the shit out of him in his first game back from his first serious injury. I mean, I thought it was pretty immature and crappy, in my opinion. But, anyways, let's move on. Try to wrap this up pretty quick. I know we're already about 15 minutes in. Get on to this Jets game. So, win for the Patriots, 17 to 22, 22-17, however you say it. Much needed win for the Patriots. Wasn't a pretty win. No way to cut it as a pretty win, right? So we'll jump into it. The bullet points are pretty short here because I really feel like a lot of things, when you win the game and you do a decent job, it's hard to put something in the bad category. But there wasn't enough stuff to really put in the good category here either. So we'll explain. Here we go. So the good things. First things first, you got the win. You needed the win. You were away as well, which is always harder no matter what. Got the win on the road. Division win. Needed it. Check. Got it done. Ramondre Stevenson is your second good thing. 143 all-purpose yards. And this was basically split right down the middle, about 70 yards apiece, receiving and rushing. He was your leading receiver. That's awesome, man. Look, I would never go as far to say that Ramondre Stevenson is like a dual threat back, but he's on the way there, right? You have to respect it now at the very least. It used to be Damian Harris was kind of that multi-guy that could do a little bit of both. The Patriots, actually, I'm not being too fair, right? The Patriots early on did try to get Ramondre Stevenson involved early. But the bill on Stevenson coming out of Oklahoma was, again, there's a guy coming out of Oklahoma, an SEC guy, a between the tackles. I mean, look at the guy. He doesn't look like McCaffrey. He doesn't look like Eckler. He doesn't look like these little scat backs, right? He looks like a big between the tackles bruiser. And he's great at that. He's awesome. We're starting to find out he's pretty effective in the pass game. He's not doing what these traditional, like these modern day dual threats that you would think would be doing. Like, he's not like lining out on the slot and running slants and outs and stuff like that. But he's playing the James White role. He's not playing it the same way and as well, but I mean, James, 7 receptions for 72 yards from your running back or something like that. That's James White numbers right there, right? So they've found a guy who can do it. Do I think a few more years of practice, Ramondre Stevenson can be just as effective and important to the offense as White was? A guy who I think, right behind a healthy Gronkowski, look, with how much Gronkowski was hurt, I think James White was your most solid player for that, from that like 14 to 20 6-year span. A lot of people go Gronk, Edelman, could say Brandon Cooks for the short time, or anything, any of those receivers or anything. I think it's James White. He made that whole thing go around. Stevenson is going to be that guy, right? And what's so intriguing, so much of a better pure runner than James White, right? Patriots very rarely use James White. The injury that basically wrapped up his career was a run. He was never a pure runner of the football once he got into the NFL. Was always much more effective as a passing back. But Ramondre Stevenson, starting to show those flashes. You have to respect it now. You can't just load the box against Ramondre Stevenson, which is going to make him better as a runner as well. So, should be good moving forward. Ramondre Stevenson looks like a real weapon for the Patriots here. I think you keep Damian Harris around too. Should be cheaper, and you can never have enough depth at running back. At the same time, I think it's probably the most expendable position. But if you got two solid, really good backs, I think you keep them, right? So I think they're in a good position there at the running back position. Ramondre Stevenson, big day. Shout out to my man, Jabril Peppers, right? Replacing, for the most part in this game, the injured Kyle Duggar. Played great. Led the team in tackles. I believe it was 5 solo tackles, 3 assists. And comes up with the onside kick at the end of the game. to secure it for the Patriots, right? The Jets go for the onside kick. Jabril Peppers goes and just gets it himself, right? Instead of waiting for it to get to him 10 yards, he just fires off, grabs it at about 7 or 8 yards, just makes a good play. It's one of those ones you're screaming at your TV, right? Oh, what are we doing? Don't touch it, don't touch it. But he flies in there. There was a good interview with him talking about he played shortstop in high school or whatever, and all these things, right? He knew he wanted to get it on a good hop. So he saw it, went after it, made a good play on top of a great day that he had on defense. Also sprung Marcus Jones on a great punt return, right? He was playing on the punt return unit and lays a great block, opens up a good lane. So love to see our man Jabril Peppers making plays. Still got to get that number 3 Patriots jersey. Looking for it real soon, so should be cool. Again, so here's what I'm talking about with I can't put these things in categories. I'm not going to put the defense in good because Zach Wilson, man. Hold on. I'm going to do the other one first so that we can spend the time that we need on Zach Wilson. The run defense was okay, but they only ran the ball 15 times. So I'm hesitant to put it in the good category. You shut it down, but they never really did it. And after a while, you're in the driver's seat, so you don't have to do too much defending of the run, and they just kept dropping back, passing it. So, I mean, that was a weird situation. I don't really want to put it in good or bad, so we'll leave that right where it is. Now, the defense can't go in good or bad or anything because the best defensive player for the Patriots on Sunday was Zach Wilson. We can go back, right? Go find the Jets recaps and the Jets previews from last year. This guy, I've been on it since the jump. What were they doing, man? What were they doing? We can jump back to 2 drafts ago when they have the second pick and the only one off the board is Trevor Lawrence. Could have went with Trey Lance. Could have went with Justin Fields. Could have went with Mac Jones. This kid sucks, man. Mac Wilson. Jesus, I can't even remember his name. It's not worth it. Zach Wilson is the most frustrating and annoying bad quarterback I've watched in a long time. There's worse quarterbacks, don't get me wrong, and he's got talent, which makes it's easy to watch a guy who just sucks, right? No problem. Zach Wilson, athletic, pretty damn good arm talent, absolutely nothing between his ears. It doesn't exist. That pick where he's roving and tries to throw it out of bounds, and just like drops it to Devin McCourty like a full 2 yards in bounds. It was mind-numbing. And then the next drive or 2 drives later, makes a great play, right? And this is what we're talking about with some upside. Blows out of the pocket and gets away from Matt Judon. Great job evading the sack. And then he goes, hey, I'm just going to chuck this 10 yards over the head of my receiver who has 2 dudes in front of him and Devin McCourty in the back. I'll give Devin McCourty another pick. How about it? Like, dude. And then, all right, there was a comeback route where the play fell apart, so he scrambles to his left, and one of his receivers is coming back to the ball, which you do when your quarterback's in duress, right? You try to go back to him, making it an easier throw, so we can try to get some positive yards. Receiver comes up the left sideline. Zach Wilson just throws, totally misses back behind the guy who's now coming downfield, back behind him. Like, just missed him 5 yards. Running back throws one out to the running back right at his feet, like 3 yards in front of him. Like, insane stuff. When there are 5 or 6, and I don't like to ever do stuff like this because, like, what these guys do is incredibly impressive. Like, when there are multiple plays where I could point to somebody that I know in my real life and be like, he probably could have made that throw, and I'm not even kidding, that's a problem, man. Zach Wilson, for all the talent he has, is a train wreck. He is so bad. And I don't know, maybe I'm just happy that I'm so right on it. This is the most right I've been on a take. This guy's a dumpster fire, man. He's so bad. And the best thing, dude, oh, man. You hear some people trying to compare him to Josh Allen, right? People go, are you ready to give up on Zach Wilson, right? And they go, I can't, right? Zach Wilson has too much talent. And, I had given up on Josh Allen in Buffalo. I did. But he turned out there's nothing a good coach and some good receivers can't fix. First off, he's got great goddamn receivers. Second, it doesn't matter who coaches this guy. Josh Allen's 6'6", 250, and he runs over you like a truck. The only thing he ever had issues with was his arm accuracy. He has always had an absolute cannon. Accuracy is one of the things that is more easily improved than a lot of other things, right? If you work at accuracy hard, it's much easier than improve it. Like, you're never going to get faster. You're never going to get much, much stronger, right? You're already in the NFL. You're not just going to get huge. Like, you can improve your accuracy. Josh Allen worked hard and improved his accuracy. To compare him to Zach Wilson just because they're both talented is ridiculous. As soon as you say it, you put a big old target on your head that I have no idea what football is about or anything. Zach Wilson is a train wreck. I got to stop it right here. If my boy Kiernan is watching, I got to send it to him either way so we can see it. He's a Jets fan, man. And he tells me all the time, Zach Wilson's holding us back. He's holding us back. Man, I only see this guy twice a year, but every time I do, I just get reminded, what are they doing? What are they doing? It's crazy. All right, can't waste any more time on it because now we're really going. The bad. Receiving core besides Jacoby Myers. What else is new? I could jump into the stats, right? Just so much struggles getting open or separation or one of the things that's in the ugly. We'll get to that in a second. It's going to be, spoiler alert, the O-line. That's coming up. In this bad category, Mac looked incredibly average and continues to make really uncharacteristic plays. The should have been pick 6 in this game was my most frustrated play that I've ever had with Mac Jones. So the situation is what makes it so important. Patriots down 10-3 going into halftime. There's 30 seconds left. They're in field goal range. So you already got 6-10 in the bag, and you're getting the ball at half. So you're going to go in, you're going to get the ball at half, down 4, worst case scenario. He throws an out route underneath the receiver inside on an out route that he was never open, and the dude grabs it for the pick 6 and goes, and nobody is ever within 15 or 20 yards of the guy, just gone. Tweet, we get lucky. Random flag, right? And of course, it's one of the BS pass interference calls, and just because I'm a Patriots fan doesn't make it not BS. Is it a call in today's NFL? Yes. It sucks, right? So shitty. Mac Jones made the decision to make that throw, and it was a pick 6. In my mind, just like when Hunter Henry got shoved out of bounds 2 games ago with Bailey Zappi, and then came back in, and they didn't let him catch the ball, I counted that as a Hunter Henry touchdown. I'm mentally counting this one as a Mac Jones pick 6. And it was awful. Because now think about it. That game should be now 17-3 going into half. You're really screwed, right? But they get bailed out. The modern NFL. D lineman just doing his job. Gets hit with a penalty. And here we are. Mac Jones. Great job. Good job. No. Not a good job for Mac Jones. Defense. 3 turnovers they gave you in this game. 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown from this offense, right? Can't draw it up as a good day. The only reason I'm not putting it in the ugly category is because in the ugly category alone for this Jets game is the pass protection. The only reason Mac Jones isn't here, the line allowed 6 sacks and a shitload of pressures, right? Mac's one actual pick was because he got hit while he was releasing it. So, again, I can't put everything on Mac because it's such a mental position. If you don't feel 100% safe and secure, like in your pocket with your protection, you're already losing, right? So with the amount of times he was hit this game, with the pressure that's been in his face, we see he keeps running. Like I said in the Bears game, he was leading us in rushing for a while, took off a couple of times in this game as well. He's starting to do it. It's getting tough for him. So running out of time on my computer here is what I'm seeing, so I don't want this video to end and lose it. I will be with you guys to break down this upcoming game. Super sorry for missing the last few, but again, don't want to lose this recording, so I'm going to peace out now. Interesting time for the Patriots. Got to keep the wins going. We got the Colts coming up soon. Go Pats.